If you're from Pune, chances are you know exactly what this yummy little snack is. If you're not from Pune, chances are that you've definitely ordered a box to take away with you. They started with a small milk distribution business in Bakarwadi near Sangli in Maharashtra and developed it into this 25-acre food manufacturing facility. How did this happen? How did it grow? What's the story behind Chitale Bandhu? That's what we're here to find out on Bharat Journey.
Bakarwadi is actually a Gujarati product. He added a Maharashtrian Thaska. People like the product. At one time, we used to see in the Pune stores Bakarwadi Sampli, which is that Bakarwadi is finished, so please come tomorrow. Today, we do close to about 2,000 kgs or an hour of that product.
What is the one thing that you absolutely refuse to compromise on?
Is the taste. That taste is what brings back memory. We can possibly do about 1,000 kg of Mithai in an hour here.
Snacking and the sweet market in India is probably 1.5 lakh crores. Expected to be 3 lakh crores in the next 10 years. We've always positioned Chitale as a challenger brand but a family brand. We make products which our family would also consume and we would want other families to consume. Currently, we are about 200,000 stores.
Okay.
We have to go about doubling that in the next 2 years.
Today, we're getting unprecedented access to see how Chitale Bandhu makes its popular products. Taking us on this tour is Indranil Chitale, the managing partner of Chitale Bandhu.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. Chitale.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having us in your factory.
It's my pleasure and thank you for coming here.
But take us back in time, take us back in history and tell us of the very interesting origins of this company.
So the history is 4 generations old and starts in the pre-independence era. So it was my great-grandfather, a late Binge Chitale, who basically founded this company. He was a dairy farmer based in Sangli district where we still continue to operate our dairy business.
Wow.
So he set up a business there where with the help of the British Railways, he was able to move the product he was making to Mumbai and sell it to different brands in Mumbai who would sell them under their own name.
Okay.
So he was more of a B2B supplier to many dairy brands in Mumbai where, he started continuing the operations. So it was during that phase where he realized that it's very difficult to firstly see what's happening in Mumbai staying in Sangli.
Yeah.
That's where his eldest son, late Raghunath Rao Chitale, actually joined the business.
Okay.
And he started putting in the foundation of how the business started to grow. So initially it was always the milk products. It was not even the liquid milk part that they started, but it was more about the condensed milk and the curd and certain other products which were basically for making Shrikhand, which is chakka. So these 3 products were something that were more prime at that time. But then what he realized is that instead of doing the business in Mumbai where it was getting tricky, why not shift to Pune where there was a repeat customer and they could also sell the liquid milk.
Okay.
So that's how the transition to Pune happened. And that's also during the era where my grandfather, his younger brother, late Rajabhau Chitale, he joined the business. So the 2 brothers and eventually their younger 2 brothers also joined the business. And that's why it was Chitale Brothers at that time, which eventually became Chitale Bandhu post the independence era.
Okay.
So during that transition is when they realized that instead of doing a B2B business, why not do it B2C, where we could establish ourselves as a brand and sell directly to the consumer. In that transition, in an era where you couldn't preserve milk, what would you do with the excess milk which used to come, which was a natural outcome, is when they started making khoa and eventually started making mithai. And that is how it became Chitale Bandhu and then Chitale Bandhu Mithai Wale.
Where there were queues of people, legendary
which
stories
eventually
of
led to the queues
of people that used to line up for the thing. But then came a revolutionary product, right?
That's true.
I'd like you to tell our viewers what it was, how the idea came about.
Sure. I think one of the big products that inside the Chitale family is Bakarwadi. You are also in the factory which is making the Bakarwadi now. Bakarwadi is actually a Gujarati product and it was something that my grandfather discovered in the 70s through the help of a cook who was working with us.
Okay.
Of course, what he got to see was the Gujarati variant. He added a Maharashtrian Thaska,
twist to it.
The twist to it. And that is what eventually we ended up selling. But that's something that has become the backbone of how we grew, besides many other verticals inside the group as well. And today we do close to about 2,000 kgs an hour of that product.
That's like a mind-boggling figure. 2,000. Just imagine that, 2,000 kilos of Bakarwadi in 1 hour.
That was not easy, and it was also a lot of work. So initially, when we started, it was all done manually. And the people like the product. and the shortage of it, where at one time we used to see in the Pune stores that Bakarwadi Sampli, which is that Bakarwadi is finished, so please come tomorrow. And one of our stores used to be very close to the Swargate bus station at that time. So we used to have a lot of ST, which is the state transport bus drivers or conductors, who would also become our distributors.
Wow.
Yeah, that way as an unorganized network, who would hold up some stock, then move it to their town and ended up selling that.
So word generally spread
Yes.
that way about how popular this
Yes.
product was, and everybody who came to Pune needed to have
Correct.
it. So the expansion came when your uncle and father came into the business, and they actually then took it forward to becoming this factory, or did it start smaller than this?
It was much smaller, and what we would say are small scale units. So say from a kitchen style operation, we went to a factory style operation back there, but then they were small units which were only towards servicing what was demanded. So we never looked at it from a FMCG perspective, that how could we actually build scale out of this and make this product available beyond what was the network at that time. So that transition happened post the mid 2000s, and I think we continue to be on that path of progress now.
And I see you've gone very new age as well. It's not just the traditional products that you built. I can see a whole load of bars over here, which looks like, very new age. Tell us a little bit about these newer products of yours.
So the snacking and the sweet market in India is probably 1.5 lakh crores, and expected to be 3 lakh crores in the next 10 years.
Correct.
So it's doubling in under 10 years at that scale is a huge potential. And with the advent of quick commerce, the people who are consuming are also a lot more aware about what's going inside. So that's where we've kept two pillars. One is convenience, the other is nutrition. So how do we improve nutrition for every gram we sell is the mission that we operate with. So that's where everything incrementally improving is something that we focus on to. The second part is convenience, that how do we package everything where we make the life of consumers more convenient. That's where the convenience part is. The bar is so easy to carry, unlike conventional namkeens which you need a bowl to pour into and then eat with a spoon or something. This is just on the go. It's baked and that's why it's also under 50 calories.
Wow.
So we are not making a sugary product, but we are making a spicy product which is to the Indian palate and to the roots, where now we're just soon developing the Jhalmuri bar as well.
Wow.
Which will appeal to more people in Bengal. But the idea is to bring those namkeens in a form factor that's very convenient.
Well, as you've seen it, growing from very humble beginnings to a factory that can churn out 2,000 kilos an hour and is spread over this massive space, let's take a look. So, of course, crazy levels of hygiene maintained inside this factory, and we've also got to get fully kitted up.
This what you see is the gram flour blend. This is the dough that will go into the top of this machine, and that is what you call as an extruder.
Okay.
So the extruder is the one where, with a lot of pump, you pump the dough out from one end, and the other end has a slotted die which is going to make sure the shape remains the same.
Okay.
So now the same can be changed to make a gathi or a papdi or a fapda.
So it
based
depends on the
which is
flange
shape.
that you change.
Absolutely.
That what
That
dimension
final
or
flange
thickness.
and the dimensions inside is determining how thick or thin the shave is, and that's what's happening here. So now what you see here is a continuous fryer, and the yellow substance that you see here is actually the dough that is being pumped.
Okay.
So this is all groundnut oil.
Okay.
We are always using groundnut oil because it is a very good fat quality.
Okay.
This oil is heated at a temperature through boilers which are behind us,
Okay.
and they make sure that the oil remains at a consistent temperature. The product passes through it, and these conveyors actually transport the product.
Okay.
So there is one on top, there is one inside the fryer, and they just transfer the product from one side to other.
Okay.
And this is how the shave actually comes out.
And then it gets cut here.
And this is where it gets cut, because otherwise it's essentially a noodle making machine.
Yeah.
If it had been a noodle with a different dough, it would have been folded and just compressed together.
Yeah.
Instead we break it and let it cool. To bring that temperature down is where we do a multi-stage cooling, and we actually bring it down to this point where it is actually at ambient.
Okay.
So from 172 degrees of frying to about 42 degrees here, where it gets filled into these bags.
Amazing.
Now these bags are batched for the Bakarwadi mixing, because this is the shave that is going to make the masala that goes inside the Bakarwadi. So now this is the blender that is there. Now the shave is a very, very brittle product. So if we blend it with a lot of power, it will never retain its shape. it will break and then it will absorb a lot of water.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to blend it gently, and these are the mixers that are usually used in the pharma industry that we've adopted here.
Okay.
They are called ribbon blenders, and that's what we do. So we mix the shave, we mix the coriander and the green chili, we mix the spice batch that is made somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then mix it with some tamarind syrup as well as some sugar syrup to just make it sticky enough.
So what happens here?
So the dough that you saw mixing there,
Yeah.
that dough is something that we have to sheet into a roti periodically. So this is the roti making machine that we have. It's making the sheet that is going to be the base for the Bakarwadi. So what we do is that we put the product up there and it is compressed over stages so that the thickness is reduced gradually. So it looks like a carpet,
Yeah.
and that is the beauty of how the sheeting technology works. So just like how we make chapati at home, this is the same process. This was actually something that was adopted from a pizza making line. So you will see a lot of pizza or croissant making lines similar to this. So we've adopted that towards making Bakarwadi. This machine is actually a cheese enrober. So this is used in pizza lines to spray the cheese. So we've just modified the
Technology,
teeth inside it to spread the masala instead of the cheese. But that's leading to a very even spread of masala. And that's why the sheet to masala ratio will always remain the same. And this is the main part. So this is adopted from croissant lines. That is causing the product to be rolled into a cylinder. So from a flat bread, it goes into a rounded bread. And that cylinder is what you see here. Every piece will always be the same width, same dimension, and same ratio of masala. So the experience of eating the Bakarwadi is consistent throughout.
This is quality control.
This is the quality control, which is the visual thing. So of course there are systems that will check everything, but the speed at which it is going, there is something that can be stuck inside. So we also do a manual layer of inspection and just filter out what would not be acceptable. And then it goes to the cooling section where we bring down the temperature. There is a big risk of piracy that can happen for food business. So that's where we don't go for pre-formed pouches. We always do all the activity of forming the pouch in-house so that we can detect in case there is an issue.
After witnessing the process of manufacturing the Bakarwadi, Indranil gave us a sneak peek into the manufacturing of their latest product, the Binge Bar. These new age products showcase Chitale evolving and adapting to modern trends. Made with clean ingredients, these Binge Bars contain under 50 calories per bar and offer your favorite snack as an on-the-go option at an affordable price.
I'm sure you can smell the all the ginger and the spices around it. So this is the Kolhapuri Jhatka that we would say in Marathi. But what you see here is the Kolhapuri Bhadang bar being made right now. So this is a newer variant for us. So we're doing it on a smaller machine. So which is why you see the occupancy is not full on the bed. But whenever we want to scale up, we add more machines and we go wider. Idea behind it is that it is actually a namkeen in a bar. So how do we make convenience is what the big question is. So the bar gets formed, it gets compressed. The compression technology is what we have a patent for. So that's why it's very difficult to replicate, because most binders are otherwise sugar based, so they'll sweeten up the product. We want a spicy namkeen bar, so that is what we are able to do in-house very well.
While Bakarwadi gets the attention, Chitale Bandhu's roots are still firmly in dairy and mithai. Everyday traditional sweets are produced at scale while maintaining consistency. And we got a first-hand look how the famous Chitale Bandhu Kaju Katli is made.
Okay, I can tell we've changed places. We're now in the mithai section, and the reason I can tell is because the aromas have completely changed. I can get a strong smell of cardamom from here. Elaichi is something that I'm smelling very, very strongly. This is completely different. But before we head into the factory and really talk about it, I wanted to ask you that, scaling up at various stages always comes with its challenges. What were some of the biggest challenges you all faced along the way?
One of the biggest challenges that we faced was that the traditional Indian sweets and namkeen industry has always been across the counter and very much local. So there are possibly about 10 to 12 brands which are multi-city in India, let alone be multi-state. So how do we actually move away from that model, create loyalty, break away from that loyalty and create new customers there, and that way sell convenience there. There was no historical data which was going to lead us to believe that this could be done. So when we started first, we started with very robust products like Kaju Katli, Gulab Jam and Mango Barfi. 3 of our big products today as well. But because they were robust even at ambient, they would last over 15 days, 20 days. We were confident that, possibly let's start with them, see how we can extend the shelf life and then start moving to others. Where now, a concept like Chitale Express exists where we have possibly about 160 odd SKUs which are packaged mithai.
Wow.
And nothing is fresh there, but everything gets sold and, we are operating that model in different states now.
Yeah.
To standardize this process, to bring that level of data where we can convincingly say that a Kaju Katli made in January will be as potent as the Kaju Katli made in August, in spite of the change in humidity, when it comes to giving that 1 year shelf life or a 4-month shelf life. And how do we keep repeating that ability to produce that is where we had to put in a lot of effort.
What is the average shelf life of, like, say, a box of mithai?
So if you go in for the ambient product, that could be anywhere from about 4 days to 8 days. But if it is packaged with modified atmosphere packaging, it can go anywhere from about 30 days up to 6 months. And then we have a separate technology which we call is Retort. So with Retort, we are able to go the shelf life up to sometimes 24 months as well.
What is the one thing that you absolutely refuse to compromise on?
I think the most important factor that we refuse to compromise on is the taste.
Okay.
Because that taste is what brings back memory. And essentially for the traditional products that we make, we are selling nostalgia most of the time. So when it comes to nostalgia, if that taste is not hitting the right note, then we are never getting the customer again. So that's why we have to preserve that the most. If that works well, everything else can work around it.
You sometimes delay a product launch because you're just not happy with the taste and you say this is not going out like it is.
It is. In fact, that's what we are facing as a challenge right now with one of our big machines for making the Binge bar. That we are not able to produce the right texture when the scale has come in. And because Namkeen bar is a new concept globally, we are the first ones to do it. We have to do a lot of learning for it. So till that happens, we are using it at shorter supply with a smaller machine. But we will not let the big machine work if it is not to the satisfaction. So what you see here is the cooking section for all the mithai. So be it the mango barfi or the Kaju Katli or a pista barfi, a rose katli, everything is getting cooked by these machines.
Okay.
Now the beauty of this is that the entire program of how to cut, how long to cut, what time to heat, what time to cook, what time to mix together and agitate is all set in the program. You just add the ingredients and you will have the same output coming for every batch. So that's why, we can possibly do about 1,000 kg of mithai in an hour here.
Yeah.
And it's just 3 machines and a very relaxed environment.
Wow. So when you do a new mithai, how many trials do you have to go through before you get the whole combination right?
Well, sometimes it can go up to a year.
Wow.
So, and again, we could do everything right clinically, as in biologically and chemically, but then it would fail organoleptically because my father or uncle would not approve it by the taste. So we are back to the drawing board. So we are used to internally criticizing ourselves and moving ahead.
So this is the yummy mixture.
This is the yummy mixture. So those big mixers that you saw there, they have cooked the big mixture there. That is brought down here at a cool temperature. So we use this universal mixers to mix and cool it naturally. Let some air come in because you need that bounciness to the Kaju Katli. So this is a very complex machine because there are 4 smaller hoppers in it where we can do a multi-layered Kaju Katli, we can do a multi-sided Kaju Katli, or we can do a single layer Kaju Katli as well. So it could do a rose and a pista mix, or it could do a pista on a rose sandwich mix, or a plain Kaju Katli. So
And
that's the
all
unit we are doing right
automated.
now. It's all automated.
You would then just feed 2 different
Like
doughs.
this is 750 kg an hour of Kaju Katli happening right as we speak. The engineering that we go up to, we make sure that the shape is something that we derive to the point of extrusion and also the cutting angle. So every Kaju Katli will always look the same. So there will be no deviation in the weight, there will be no deviation in the thickness as well.
But can you tell me, just for lay person to understand, what is the kind of cost of a machinery that is something like this?
So a line like this would cost somewhere about 8 to 9 crores. I think one part where we have not been able to automate, and that's why we never go in for, is the putting of the silver work on top of it. So this silver foil is very thin and the robots have not been able to do the job yet. So till they do it right, we won't adopt it. Whenever they do, then I think we can move to a more hygienic process. That's how we do it.
AI is not taking all our
That's
jobs.
not. What we've done here is that everything cashew based is in this hall and everything milk based is in that hall.
Milk
So
based.
there is no overlap of allergens.
Okay. I also was noticing in your storage
Yeah.
that all the nuts are at the bottom.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that?
So the storage is also a point where there is a big risk because the storage contains products which come from outside. So there could be a leakage or a tear or something, and an allergic product could get mixed with a non-allergic product. So that's why all allergens are closer to the floor and all non-allergens are above the floor, so that in case something falls, some accident happens, somebody misplaces it, there is no risk of allergens getting mixed with non-allergens, but the other way around. So we don't risk the consumer safety at all.
Aromas in the Namkeen and Mithai sections of Chitale's manufacturing facility got my taste buds dancing. So I made sure to feast on their most popular items, including the Bakarwadi and Kaju Katli. And I must tell you, they were just amazing. Walking around those floors has certainly whet the appetite, and I can't wait to taste this. So here goes. I now understand what you mean by snap and crunch. It tastes just as good. I could eat a whole box of it. You know, it brings back childhood memories of Jim Jam biscuits.
Yeah. So our idea was the same, that how can we make it different form factor and something that can actually have real fruit where the kids can also have it.
I'm a customer for life.
That's great. I think that's why we built the plant.
So what we're going to do here is a true taste test. Okay, we're going to get him to taste 4 or 5 different Bakarwadis, and he's going to have to tell us which one is his, and we're going to trust him to close his eyes and not cheat on this one. Okay, I'm going to hand you one by one. You can smell them, feel them.
Okay, this I don't need to test, this is not ours.
Let me try this.
So this is ours.
Okay, and the one before that?
I'm not able to make out the close one, but I don't think so. No, that's not ours.
Okay, so we cheated with you a little bit. We gave you 2 of yours,
Okay.
but you definitely got yours right in the first
Correct.
go. He didn't even touch the others. He knew by size that wasn't his. Both
Both were ours,
Both the
but
last.
they were from different lines possibly, so I got confused.
No problem, but you got yours
Got it
completely
continuous.
right.
Yeah.
And I have to say, that's well done. There's a lot of weight on the shoulders of this factory for being such a trusted brand. And how do you carry that kind of weight on your shoulders? And are the elders always reprimanding you guys when you try to automate everything?
That banter and debate is something that we have to convince the elder generation before we go about doing anything.
Okay.
So I think that is a necessary hygiene check before we do anything, because sometimes we can go wrong.
Okay.
But more importantly, I think one of the things is that, while we've professionalized quite heavily, we have a team that does an excellent job on most of the revenue generating or manufacturing functions. We've always positioned Chitale as a challenger brand but a family brand. So our consumption has never been about 5 rupee packets or the on the go consumption, but it's always been about the family consumption, where we make products which our family would also consume and we would want other families to consume. So how do we retain that sense of belonging to how families should consume our products is something that is instilled right up to the point of a security guard or a housekeeping person, that they are responsible for making something that is going to be consumed by a family. So would you do something that you would not want your family to consume is something that people are mostly accountable in their mind about, and something that over a period has become the culture of the company. So my grandfather would possibly still be on the floor and pick up something that he felt was not right, or taste something, or we encourage the people who work in our stores or in our sales teams or even in the factories to actually eat whatever is coming inside. So we've never stopped them from trying something out, because very often they are the first ones to point out if something's missing. So that's why this transparency, sense of ownership, and that way a mechanism where the professionals as well as the family values blend quite seamlessly is something that I believe is ensuring we deliver that trust again and again and again. And if I think we keep doing that well enough, I think that is where the consumers will respect us.
Chitale is everybody's bandhu. is what it is.
That's the responsibility we need to take.
Masses of awards that I see that you've got on
Yes.
this wall. Plenty of them received, and I think more than this must be the consumer satisfaction. When your consumers tell you how good your product is, and of course the validation in when it sells. But you've come a long way from milk
Absolutely.
to this large-scale factory.
Yeah.
What's next?
I think we are very much true to our farmer-led economy model, where I think we still engage with the farmer, where they are the primary source of what comes inside the factory. So anything that we do will be from a farm to fork mechanism, and how do we add different folks to the kitty is what we are trying to do, and that's where I think we have earmarked 3 critical phases for our growth. One would be our foray into the quick serve restaurant as well as the casual dining restaurants. So they are merging seamlessly with our retail stores. So we operate about 100 of those. What we eventually see is that how can we build about 500 of those. So that's what we want to scale in one lever. The second part is our distribution business. That is our larger chunk of business, and we want to reach 500,000 stores by 2028. So I think every second day we are all out on the field, just trying to see and develop a new market, a new state, a new district, a new taluka, and see how we can increase our presence there.
And how many stores do you have currently?
So currently we are about 200,000 stores.
Okay.
So we have to go
at doubling
about doubling that in the next 2 years. So how do we do that is where execution plays an important role, but also product innovation. So those 2 things are what we fixed. And thirdly, what has been the important part is that how do we make sure that we are good brand ambassadors for the Indian cuisine globally, and get ourselves listed on shelves which are not just about Asian or ethnic cuisine, but about global cuisine. So we've just made reasonable progress over the last 1 year, but trade winds have been erratic this year, because there is demand, there is supply, but there is a trade route which is not in anyone's control. So how do we stabilize that and see more people across the world actually seeing Chitale on shelves of supermarkets which they buy their products from, and make ourselves a part of the soft diplomacy that Indian food can play in the overall posturing of Indian culture across the world.
Amazing. We thank you so much for welcoming us in your factory.
It's been my pleasure.
Letting us taste all your products and giving us this wonderful story. It's really been an eye-opener. There's so many stories like this across India that we know very little about, but are supremely interesting, just like Chitale Bandhu.